When a man misses you, he doesn't always say it, he doesn't text, he doesn't call, but inside something changes. And most women completely misunderstand this stage, because when a man truly starts missing you, his behavior becomes different. A lot of women think if he's silent, he doesn't care. If he's not chasing, he's moved on. But that's not how men work emotionally. Men process feelings in silence. They distance themselves, think, and only then realize your value. And when a man starts missing you deeply, there are clear signs most women ignore. When he truly misses you, he takes action, not talk, not empty promises, not late night, I was just thinking about you, messages with no follow through. Real missing creates movement. It creates urgency. It creates intention. A man who genuinely feels your absence does not sit comfortably in it. He feels it. And when he feels it deeply enough, he responds. You see, when a woman matters to a man, her absence disrupts his routine. The good morning text he used to send without thinking now feels heavy when it's not there. The laughter he didn't realize he depended on becomes noticeable in its silence. The emotional support he once took for granted suddenly becomes something he searches for. That's when missing you stops being a soft emotion and starts becoming a call to action. A man who truly misses you will not hide behind pride for long. Pride is strong, but longing is stronger. At first, he might try to distract himself. He might tell himself he's fine. He might even act unbothered. But when he genuinely misses you, distractions don't work. Nights feel longer. Days feel incomplete. And eventually, the discomfort of not having you outweighs the discomfort of reaching out. And when that shift happens, he moves. He doesn't wait for the perfect time. He doesn't overthink the message. He doesn't calculate how it will look. He reaches out because the connection matters more than his ego, whether it's a simple, "How have you been?" or a direct, "I miss you." The message comes with energy behind it. It comes with sincerity. You can feel the difference. When a man truly misses you, he doesn't just reopen communication, he tries to rebuild connection. That's an important distinction. Anybody can send a text, but a man who feels your absence will ask questions. He will listen. He will stay engaged in the conversation instead of disappearing again. His effort becomes consistent, not random. Consistency is one of the clearest signs. Missing someone deeply does not produce one emotional burst followed by silence. It produces steady effort. He checks in. He makes time. He adjusts his schedule. He creates opportunities to see you, because when you matter, you are not squeezed into leftovers. You are prioritized. Another thing happens when he truly misses you. He reflects. Missing you forces him to think about what you brought into his life. Your peace, your encouragement, your understanding. He starts realizing that not everyone replaces that easily. And when a man understands value, he protects it. He doesn't risk losing it again through carelessness. That reflection often leads to accountability. If he knows he contributed to the distance, he begins to see it more clearly. A man who misses you deeply doesn't just want you back. He wants the situation to be better than before. So he corrects behavior. He becomes more intentional with his words. He communicates more clearly. He stops repeating the patterns that created the separation. Now, let's be honest. Some men say they miss you because they're lonely. That's different. Loneliness seeks comfort. Genuine missing seeks connection. Loneliness wants temporary relief. Real longing wants restoration. The difference is in the follow-through. A lonely man disappears once he feels better. A man who truly misses you stays present. When he misses you badly, you won't feel confused. You won't sit there decoding mixed signals. His actions will create clarity. He will call instead of just watching your stories. He will make plans instead of vague suggestions. He will show up instead of making excuses. Effort removes doubt. And here's something powerful: when a man takes action because he misses you, it's voluntary. Nobody forced him. Nobody begged him. Nobody pressured him. The decision came from within. That's why it's meaningful. When action is self-initiated, it carries weight. But understand this too: you cannot force a man to miss you into action. That has to come from his own realization. Your job is not to convince someone of your value. Your job is to maintain your dignity and let your absence reveal your impact. If he truly feels it, he will respond. If he doesn't, silence is your answer. At the end of the day, missing someone is an emotion. But love, respect, and genuine care turn that emotion into behavior. When he truly misses you, he doesn't stay still. He doesn't gamble with losing you. He steps forward. He reaches out. He shows up, because a man who understands what you mean to him does not risk watching you walk away permanently. When a man misses you, he may stay silent, but inside, he's fighting his own feelings. Your absence becomes his mirror. When you step back, when you stop calling, when you stop fixing, when you stop explaining, something powerful happens. The noise fades, the distractions slow down, and in that silence, he is left alone with his own reflection. Without you there to soften things, to smooth things over, to fill in the emotional gaps, he begins to see clearly, sometimes for the first time. While you were present, he may not have noticed the full weight of what you carried: your patience, your understanding, your emotional labor, your consistency. Those things often go unseen when they are constantly available, but once they're gone, their absence creates contrast, and contrast reveals truth. The energy you brought into his life doesn't quietly disappear. It leaves an outline, and that outline forces him to look at himself. When your absence becomes his mirror, he starts replaying moments, conversations he brushed off, feelings he minimized, times you tried to communicate and he didn't fully listen. In the quiet, those memories grow louder. He can no longer blame your tone, your emotions, or the situation. He has to sit with his own responses. And that is uncomfortable, because mirrors don't flatter, they reflect. He begins to notice patterns: the way he avoided certain discussions, the way he delayed commitment, the way he assumed you would always be there. Your absence removes the safety net, and without that safety net, he sees the consequences of complacency. Sometimes he realizes he was distracted. Sometimes he realizes he was immature. Sometimes he realizes he simply didn't value what he had the way he should have. But whatever the realization is, it starts with you no longer filling the space. A woman's presence can sometimes shield a man from growth. If she constantly forgives, constantly understands, constantly adjusts, he may never feel the urgency to evolve. But when she steps away with dignity, she hands him a mirror, not with anger, not with revenge, just with absence. And absence speaks louder than arguments ever could. At reflection, he also begins to see your impact more clearly, the calm you brought into his stress, the encouragement you gave when he doubted himself, the warmth you offered after long days. These weren't small things. They were stabilizing forces. And once they are gone, instability reveals their importance. He may try to replace the feeling. He may distract himself, but not every connection carries the same depth. Not every woman carries the same presence. And when he realizes that the mirror becomes even clearer, your absence also exposes his emotional maturity. A mature man will look into that mirror and take responsibility. He will ask himself hard questions. He will examine where he could have done better. He will allow the discomfort to shape him. An immature man will look away. He will blame you. He will justify his behavior. He will avoid reflection. But either way, the mirror is there. Your absence provides it. What makes this powerful is that you don't have to say much. You don't have to argue your worth. You don't have to prove your value. Silence, when chosen with strength, becomes a teacher. It forces him to evaluate what your presence truly meant. And when he understands that meaning, he begins to measure himself against it. Sometimes the reflection leads to growth. He recognizes that he was inconsistent, so he becomes consistent. He sees that he lacked communication, so he works on expressing himself better. He notices that he took you for granted, so he learns to appreciate more openly. Growth often begins with loss, not permanent loss necessarily, but enough distance to create awareness. But understand this clearly: the purpose of your absence is not to manipulate him into change. It is not a tactic. It is a boundary. It is you choosing self-respect. The mirror effect is simply a natural consequence. When someone valuable leaves the room feels different. And that difference demands reflection. If he truly values you, he won't just see the reflection, he'll respond to it. He will approach you differently. He will handle you more carefully. He will protect what he almost lost. Because once a man sees clearly what you brought into his life, he cannot unsee it. And if he chooses not to grow, then the mirror still served its purpose. It revealed who he is. Sometimes absence doesn't change the other person. It clarifies them. Either way, you gain understanding. Your absence is powerful because it shifts the focus from what you were giving to what he was contributing. And in that shift, the truth surfaces. When you are no longer there to absorb the imbalance, he has to confront it. That confrontation is the mirror. And mirrors, whether we like what we see or not, always tell the truth. When a man misses you, he may stay silent, but inside he's fighting his own feelings. Effort replaces excuses when a man truly values you. It's that simple. When his feelings are real, when his intentions are serious, when losing you becomes a possibility he doesn't want to face, the explanations start disappearing and the actions start increasing. Because at the end of the day, excuses are what people use when something is optional. Effort is what people give when something is important. Anybody can explain why they didn't call. Anybody can justify why they were too busy. Anybody can say they've just been stressed, overwhelmed, distracted. Words are easy. Explanations are convenient. But effort requires energy. It requires priority. It requires choice. And when a man decides you matter, he chooses you even when it's not convenient. You see, when a man is unsure about you, you'll hear a lot of reasons. Reasons why timing isn't right. Reasons why he needs space. Reasons why he can't commit yet. But when he's sure, the language changes. He stops telling you what he can't do and starts showing you what he will do. The shift is subtle but powerful. Instead of, "I've been busy," you see him making time. Instead of, "Let's see what happens," you see him making plans. Instead of, "I'm not good at expressing myself," you see him trying anyway. Effort doesn't mean perfection. It means intention. It means he doesn't let distance grow without addressing it. It means he doesn't allow misunderstandings to sit unresolved. It means he doesn't gamble with your patience. When effort replaces excuses, you don't feel like you're constantly asking for the bare minimum. You feel considered. A man who is serious about you understands something important. Consistency builds security, so he becomes consistent. He checks in regularly. He follows through on what he says. He keeps his promises, even small ones, because he knows trust is not built with grand gestures alone. It's built with repeated reliability, and reliability is effort in action. Another sign that effort has replaced excuses is accountability. Instead of defending himself every time there's an issue, he listens. Instead of flipping the situation around, he reflects. When you express a concern, he doesn't dismiss it. He works on it. That's effort. Effort says, "Your feelings matter enough for me to adjust." Excuses say, "That's just how I am." When a man fears losing you, he stops testing boundaries. He stops seeing how much you'll tolerate. He becomes protective of the connection. If something feels off, he addresses it. If he makes a mistake, he apologizes without layering it in justification. Not because he's weak, but because he understands that pride is expensive and he's not willing to pay for it with your absence. Effort also shows up in clarity. When a man is making excuses, you feel confused. You're left guessing where you stand. You're analyzing mixed signals. But when effort replaces excuses, clarity replaces confusion. He tells you what he wants. He tells you how he feels. He doesn't keep you in emotional limbo, because a man who values you does not want you questioning your place in his life. Now, let's be real. Everyone gets busy. Everyone has responsibilities. Effort doesn't mean constant availability. It means consistent priority. Even on his busiest days, he finds a moment. Even in stressful seasons, he communicates. Even when things aren't perfect, he reassures you, because effort finds a way. Excuses find an escape. And here's something powerful. You won't have to beg for effort from a man who truly wants you. You won't have to convince him to show up. You won't have to explain why communication matters. When a man decides you're valuable, the shift happens naturally. He steps up because he wants to, not because he's pressured. The difference between interest and investment is effort. Interest sends a text when it's convenient. Investment makes a call when it's necessary. Interest shows up when it's easy. Investment stays present when it's challenging. When effort replaces excuses, you feel the investment. This is why paying attention to actions is so important. Words can create hope. Excuses can create patience. But effort creates stability. Stability is what makes a woman feel safe in a connection. It's what allows trust to grow. It's what turns feelings into something real. At the end of the day, a man will always make time for what he doesn't want to lose. If he sees your value, if he understands your impact, if he feels your absence as a real possibility, he will rise to the level required to keep you. Not perfectly, not flawlessly, but intentionally. And when effort replaces excuses, you don't feel like an option. You feel chosen. When a man misses you, he may stay silent, but inside he's fighting his own feelings. Don't chase. Let your absence speak. There is a power in restraint that most people don't understand. When emotions are high and attachment is strong, the instinct is to reach, to fix, to explain, to hold on tighter. But chasing rarely creates value. It often creates imbalance. And imbalance quietly erodes respect. When you chase, you shift the dynamic. You begin proving your worth instead of recognizing it. You start overextending, over-explaining, over-giving. And the more you move toward someone who is not matching your energy, the more space they subconsciously take. Not because they are evil, but because human nature responds to value. What feels guaranteed often feels less urgent. Letting your absence speak is not about manipulation. It is about self-respect. It is about understanding that your presence is meaningful. And if someone cannot recognize it while you are there, they may only understand it when it is gone. Silence, when chosen with strength, carries weight. It communicates that you are not desperate for validation. It shows that you will not compete for basic effort. When a woman stops chasing, something shifts. She stops initiating every conversation. She stops reminding him how she feels. She stops carrying the emotional weight of the relationship alone. And in that space, reality becomes clearer. If he values the connection, he will notice the difference. If he does not, his silence will confirm what his words never did. Absence has a way of revealing priorities. When you are constantly available, constantly responsive, constantly accommodating, there is no contrast. But when you pull back, when your energy is no longer filling the room feels different. He feels it in the quiet moments. He feels it when he reaches for his phone and there's no message waiting. He feels it when the reassurance he relied on is no longer automatic. That feeling creates awareness. Awareness creates reflection, and reflection creates decision. A man who truly values you will not sit comfortably in your absence. He will step forward. He will initiate. He will close the distance, not because you demanded it, but because he felt the loss of your presence. Chasing, on the other hand, removes that opportunity. If you are always the one fixing, always the one reaching out, always the one holding things together, he never has to feel what life is like without you trying. And if he never feels that contrast, he never fully understands your impact. Letting your absence speak also protects your dignity. There is nothing attractive about begging someone to see your value. Value is not something you convince someone of. It is something they recognize. And if they don't recognize it, your job is not to argue. Your job is to stand still long enough for truth to reveal itself. This does not mean playing games. It does not mean ignoring someone who is genuinely trying. It means matching energy. It means giving what you receive. It means refusing to overinvest where there is undercommitment. When you operate from that place, you move with confidence instead of fear. Fear says, if I don't chase, I'll lose him. Confidence says, if I have to chase, I've already lost balance. There is a difference. Healthy connections do not require pursuit to maintain interest. Mutual desire naturally pulls two people toward each other. And here's the truth: if your absence does not move him, your presence would not have changed him. If stepping back creates indifference instead of effort, that clarity is a gift. It saves you from wasting time trying to convince someone to care. But when your absence does matter, it speaks loudly. He reaches out. He becomes intentional. He notices what he almost took for granted, not because you argued your case, but because the emotional space you occupied is no longer filled. And emptiness has a way of highlighting importance. There is strength in knowing when to stop talking. There is maturity in knowing when to stop probing. There is power in walking away quietly instead of fighting to stay somewhere you are not fully valued. At the end of the day, love should not feel like a performance review where you constantly defend your position. It should feel mutual, balanced, secure. If someone needs to feel your absence to understand your worth, let them feel it. Do not interrupt the lesson, because the right man will not let your absence become permanent, and the wrong one will reveal himself through his comfort in it. Either way, you win by standing still and letting your absence speak. When a man misses you, he may stay silent, but inside, he's fighting his own feelings. At the end of the day, it all comes down to this: when a man truly values you, his actions will make it undeniable. When he misses you deeply, he moves. When you step back, he reflects. When he fears losing you, effort replaces excuses. And when you stop chasing, the truth reveals itself. You don't have to beg for clarity. You don't have to compete for attention. You don't have to shrink yourself to keep someone comfortable. Real feelings produce real action. Your power was never in convincing him. Your power was always in knowing your worth and standing firm in it. A man who understands your value will rise to meet it. A man who doesn't will fall back without you having to push him away. Either way, you gain clarity, and clarity is freedom. So stop chasing, stop over-explaining, stop accepting half effort disguised as potential. Raise your standard, protect your energy, let your presence be a privilege, not a guarantee. And if this message spoke to you, don't just listen. Apply it. Choose yourself. Move with confidence. And from this day forward, only entertain actions that match words. Now ask yourself, are his actions matching his feelings? If not, it's time to adjust accordingly. When a man misses you, he always comes back emotionally first, physically later. And the biggest mistake women make is interrupting this process. Understand men emotionally, and relationships become easier. If you've ever experienced this, you already know how powerful absence can be. Subscribe for more videos about men's psychology and relationships, because what men feel they rarely say